Well, welcome to today's episode. Today, we've got a very exciting guest, Eric Middleton. Eric is an adventurous accounting and finance consultant whose curiosity and courage to embrace change has defined his career. With a background in auditing and forensic accounting, Eric thrives on pulling threads, uncovering insights, and helping organizations see opportunities beyond the horizon. Known for his optimism, resilience, and bias toward action, Eric brings a spirited, dependable presence and a genuine love for learning and people. He combines intellectual curiosity with problem solving to guide companies and individuals through ambiguous journeys toward growth and transformation. So, Eric, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks. And for those of you just joining the podcast, we at Strativa AI help businesses scale their revenue over 12 months using AI. So if you want to learn how to take your business to the next level, make sure to stick around for future episodes. And if you're interested in a free growth consultation, just drop the word growth into the DMs. So now, Eric, can you tell us a bit more about yourself and the journey that got you to where you are?
Sure, I'd love to. So started at the Big Four, KPMG, back in '08, ran into a foul of the housing market crash. And from that, I did some corporate accounting, I did internal audit, back to public accounting. And then October 2017 is when I started doing consulting work.
Okay.
And that's been a great journey. I really enjoyed it. I'll be honest, coming from audit where no one wants to see you. Oh no, it's Eric, the auditors are here. To
Right.
going to consulting where, oh my God, I need help and you can help me. I love it. It was eye-opening. It was amazing. I just enjoyed helping people. I thought as an auditor I could, and I did have a lot of clients that saw that, but a lot more just want you, go, get
Yeah.
out of here. But everyone in consulting is always happy to see me. I'm here to help. And I've loved it. I've done a lot of different jobs. I don't know if I want to, go through them all. I'm sure we'll talk about a few as we go through the questions and talk more about AI. But then this year is when I officially started a New Horizon Consulting. And so I was doing more of the 1 foot in, 1 foot out subcontract jobs through a Robert Half or a People Caddy or a PwC and going from job to job. Didn't really do any marketing or business development or website or none of that. Now I'm in that whole world and it's been
Right.
quite a journey. And I'm glad I took the plunge, as they say.
Yeah. Nice. Well, congrats on that. And so
Right.
what is it in your consulting that you focus on now then?
So I have 8 primary services that I do. Just a few highlights. As far as this podcast goes, my newest one is AI implementation. I really do think it is the future. It's going to continue to evolve, and you can just tell by how many people are investing in it and how much dollars are being invested, not only from governments, but from organizations all around the world. And
Oh,
so I
yeah.
really one of those future things. And I might be dating myself. I don't know if your listeners might remember Blockbuster from back in the day, but there was
Right.
this time where
I do.
Blockbuster,
Of
huge
course.
video store where you can rent videos. And then Netflix came along and Netflix took the plunge of online internet, and Blockbuster remained brick and mortar stores, and Blockbuster is no longer around and Netflix is thriving. So I do feel it's one of those maybe transformational things that might happen where, if you hop on board, you'll be around in 30 years, but unfortunately if you don't, you might follow Blockbuster. So I might be wrong, but it's just a thing. So I wanted to make sure I was one of those that started doing it. So I'm taking all the trainings and doing all I can to try to learn. It's ever changing. I'm sure we'll get into a lot more about that as we go on. But some of the other things that I like to do, a lot of things in accounting and finance. So purchase accounting, ASC 805. I like to do any accounting pronouncements, technical accounting always interested me, really getting into the details. I know doing interim financial management. So I just hop in as a controller if someone's gone for a little bit, or as a CFO while someone's searching. That's always really interesting because I just get to hop in and really start thinking about how things work here, how we can improve, or how what the vision if you're a CFO. I really enjoyed that. Anywhere from risk assessments, fraud risk assessments. Since I worked a bit with Homeland Security on criminal cases, I can really come in and just help fraud risk assessment and kind of see where it is. And it's amazing to me, some of these CFOs and CEOs where they just know their business so well that they
Yeah.
just, I don't know, but I thought that we would have 8% more profit. And then I go in and, oh my God, I find something, and guess what it ends up being? 7% or something. And it's just amazing to me how well a lot of these people know their businesses. But I like to help with things like that. So anything really in the accounting, finance realm, project management, doing stuff like that. Like I just recently got a job where they just need me to help them clean up the books because lo and behold, like for the last 3 years, they have not needed to be audited. Now they want to
Okay.
get a loan to get a new facility and some equipment. Once you get the loan, most banks want you to be audited. And then they realize, oh man, we haven't really been doing accounting the last 3 years.
Uh,
I don't even know what my numbers are. So I don't know how to do this 5 year projection. And so I'm
uh,
just going to tap in, help them out, get their books cleaned up, get their budget done, and get the 5 year projection that the bank wanted. And then hopefully they'll be on the right track to get audited, in the near future. So things like
yeah.
that.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. And so with that, then also you prefaced it with a little bit of, I guess, a foray into AI. And so how are you implementing AI, or what are you looking to potentially roll out in regards to that in your upcoming year?
Yeah, great question. So for me, where I'm at in my business right now, my biggest push is marketing and business development.
Okay.
And so I am looking into possible add-ons to LinkedIn in order to allow AI to help me in terms of if it can look through Sales Navigator and pick out, like if I have 20 invites that I can do a day. If it can help me, if I can train it to know what I'm looking for, and it can maybe even it can look at Sales Navigator. It can also look at their site. It can look at a lot of stuff that it might take me a long time to do and a fraction of the time to maybe give me the best 20 that I can to send the messages to. Also, I'd love it if it
Mm.
could draft messages for me. Now, I know we're going to get into this a little more about being more personable. I don't want to only leave it to AI, but sometimes what I'm learning in business development is that initial outreach, as long as I draft something that maybe can start a conversation, that might be okay if that initial outreach is somewhat similar lines. Because to to specialize every one would take just a massive amount of time. So I'd have to balance the time with the efficiency of it. And so I really think if it can help me with that, that would be amazing. I'm already using it to help me with posts and pictures.
Okay.
So I might give AI, let AI know what I want to divulge. And then it'll create a picture for me. And then I give it feedback. This was great. This was not so great. I gave it all the pictures that I created in the past, so it kind of knows the way I like to do things.
Sure,
And
sure.
if you treat it like that, then it just learns you and it knows you, and now it's creating my photos and pictures. And I'm hoping it might be able to help me with video editing, but I have to get into that too. So a lot of this is all around the business development and marketing, but
Yeah.
I'm really trying to look into that this year to maybe have some of that implemented to help me with this process going forward.
I see. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, I know that there's definitely ways. As a matter of fact, I use some of them. We at Strativa use some of them in regards to the LinkedIn stuff that you were talking about. And so, where your desire to personalize things at the beginning, that can be dovetailed, that can be just meshed with AI. And so there's different ways to do that. And some are better than others so that your message doesn't get spammy, right? And so that the people that are receiving it actually, they want to engage with you and they don't see you as a spammer. So there's a whole industry built around LinkedIn, outreach and that sort of stuff. And I think you're on the right track, though, yeah, because it's always about capturing attention, and then after that, it's about that conversion into serving, right? And so once you have their attention, what does serving look like? Does it mean like some sort of a partnership, or does it mean like eventually they're being a client of yours, or is it like a referral and you're just collaborating on some whatever it is, right? But that your message, stop their scroll because there's some degree of relevancy there. And then the relationship, the seed has been planted and then it's up to you to go in and nurture it. So,
Exactly. Yeah, the
yeah.
follow-ups, that's one thing I'm bad at is following up. So if AI can help me with that as well, and I know it can, so it's more just me implementing it. So I've been
Yeah.
doing all the trainings to help implementation for companies, but now I gotta, it'll be great to do it for myself, and that'll just be a use case that I can even say as far as how I might be able to help because I did it, I did it for myself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Great point. And so, are there any AIs that you worked with in regards to the financial side of things? So, in the day to day side of your work, that any of your softwares or anything like that have utilized over the past few years that have enabled you to, I don't know, like projects to clients faster, or somehow pick out some abnormalities in the math quicker, or any tools like that you could speak about?
Yeah, I did. I learned, I think a lot of them do this, but I used OpenAI and they have a model where you can actually, you're basically renting their code and you get your own personalized AI that is not shared with anyone else. So I could
Uh-huh.
put it in role or whatever I want. And you can then train it to do whatever you want. And so I trained mine to be like a accounting guru. So
Nice.
I uploaded all the legal official documents, all the accounting standards, all the accepted auditing standards or consulting standards, independent standard. It's 80 pages and I really don't want to read that when I have a question. So if I putting this all into AI, it's my research tool and it's only pulling from official guidance. I know it's so because some of the problems that you get if you use ChatGPT, like the free version online, is it can pull from anywhere. So, for example, if someone does a Reddit post and says you can do accounting with only debits, you don't need credits anymore. It can go and search and it can pull that and it can be part of an answer when you ask it a question. But with mine, it's only pulling from the official accounting standards, 805, 842. It's only pulling from specific standards, and
Uh-huh.
I can tell and I can ask it the source, and then it'll take me right to the paragraph that it is at, and then I can read it for myself to see because there's a lot of judgment in accounting, and so it might have its judgment, but then I can just go to source and it'll take me right there. It's been huge for me just because I'll be honest, maybe I shouldn't admit this as a consultant. I do know a lot about accounting, but it's so vast that I need to refresh my memory. And so just
Oh, I'm
making
sure. Yeah.
date on when I'm doing this project that I make sure I'm doing inventory costing correctly. It's really been helping me as my research tool. I use it almost every day just to make sure that I'm doing things right. I have learned some limitations. It's not good with calculations. It's not good anything judgment, which is why we're going to get into it a little more, but it's why I don't think it's replacing us soon, if ever. If ones and zeros can make judgments, we have a different conversation to talk about. I don't know if it'll ever be able to do that, but it is super helpful. Google, I don't mean to upset Google, but I don't know if I'll ever do a Google search, at least like an account, and that again, it's been amazing for me. So that's one thing that I've done.
Okay. Well, fantastic. And so with that, yeah, you touched on a couple strategies that you use. And do you want to either expand on them or speak about any other strategies that you might use to make sure that, being in the finance realm, there's so much around regulations and compliance. And so any input that you have there in regards to things that you might suggest as far as strategy around those things?
Yeah, I will say the regulatory landscape, just like AI, is changing very rapidly. And as part of my due diligence and learning to be able to help companies implement AI, I've been doing a lot of research into regulations. I would say for my current research, federal regulations right now are more to allow open AI, like to allow it, like they want it to flourish.
Uh-huh.
And so the National AI Initiative Act, executive orders like in January focus on like removing barriers to AI to make it easier to implement. And then even in the past legislation of the big beautiful bill, it's talking about how to like a moratorium on regulations for 10 years to let it develop, to let it run free, if you will. So
Uh-huh.
my understanding right now of the federal regulatory guidance is that it's very friendly to it. Now, every state has its own regulations, and some states are putting some regulations on AI to protect the public in terms of if AI can be false or used for inflammatory purposes, things of that nature. And so, right now, with the regulatory landscape, the main thing I recommend to people to protect themselves is if you just want to mention that this was generated through AI or AI was used to generate this, to me, from my research currently, that protects you from all the regulations that
That's
I.
huge. Yeah, that's great.
But it's ever changing. Like I swear tomorrow, what I said could be wrong. So it's one of those things like AI that is just ever changing, which is one of the difficulties of this is how fast it's changing.
It's so fast right now. It's lightning fast. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't
Yeah.
know if our Google brains can go that fast. So we need AI and AI.
Yeah. Yeah, and while there's a lot of that going on, I mean, there's a lot of development certainly around, digital twins and avatars and cloning people so that people have that kind of, well, both as a resource for themselves, but then also as a resource for their customers. So a lot of companies might just do it as simply as, an AI voice agent receptionist. Think of like a plumber or a dentist or something, and they've got all the information and they're able to give it back really fast to an inquiry because they know all those FAQs and they can give it back really fast. But then there's others where like agents can consult with other agents and, they're chewing on data, if you will, and then comes in the human. And so because the agents have gone to work so much on much more complex problems, then the human comes in and is, benefited by all of that acceleration, by all of that data research. And to your point, like how important it is to validate those things so that the hallucinations or the biases as well are trimmed out, then that is where the real strength I feel lies so that it's credible and actionable.
And I have a warning for companies out there that have call centers. Because some people are saying that I don't need humans anymore. I can just use AI for my call center. And just a warning is what AI is doing is it's probably pulling from your internal policies and procedures to help answer questions. It can do that, but as soon as a customer has a complaint or has something that requires judgment, like wants just to feel comfortable. Like, for example, I just had an international trip to the UK. It was my first one.
Nice.
And I called my credit card company just to understand how it works. Can I use my credit card? What do I need to do? And what's the fees? And so AI can give you very blunt and direct, like your fee is this, but I'm just like, how does it? I wanted a human to tell me how it works. How is the process? And the AI just could not do that. So I just, human, please. And they still
Right.
had a human. When I finally got to talk to someone, it just made me feel so much better. Just hearing someone like, to talk about the judgments, like, oh yeah, you'd want to do this, and just some tips if you're traveling abroad. Do this, bring some cash, do this.
Yeah.
That, yeah, I can't really do. It's not, at least my understanding as of right now, it cannot. So I would always recommend that you still have humans in
Yeah.
calls, but it can certainly help with some of those basic
Exactly.
that people have. It can take all those, but as soon as it gets more complex, you will still need humans.
Yep. Indeed. And so, yeah, the AI can get trained to a certain base knowledge. Yeah, it can be trained to the general industry information and then layered on the specifics of whatever the business is, and also trained with the complete brand voice, therefore, but then including the tone and the idea of where it wants to get a client or a customer or whatever, to. And it can be very conversational. And to your point, quite often, like an IT company might use it for tier one support, right? But not tier 2 and 3. When there's definitely more judgment that needs to come in, that's an important time to really have that human intelligence come back in. But for a lot of the less important or more routine answers, the AI can be used, and it can also be put in, like you mentioned, credit card companies, like 100%. Like, I don't know why they're not using it more, because those companies that you go into, I know, I feel your pain. I called one the other day and it was like, yeah, human please, human please, human please. And like their tiered, voice train in there is so outdated, and it would be such a better customer experience for all of us if they just had smarter AI at that very front, so you're having a better experience then. And maybe some of those things could be solved that you were asking about, but then then to just get you up to that tier 2 level support faster of talking to a human, and the whole thing just being a better experience.
Yeah. And I don't want to discount the importance of that human interaction. And maybe people aren't like me, but this is my first time. I was a little nervous. Just hearing that human say, "Oh, that's great. I've been to the UK. You're going to have a great time. It's going to be all right. Let's get the information you need." Just, it's hard to overemphasize how important that can be to interactions and to trusting a company. And so that's another piece that AI will just never be able to do, because it's just a ones and zero. It's just a computerized voice. It can't tell you it's going to be okay. It doesn't know. It doesn't care. And so it's I just so I obviously, AI is very important and it can really help. But I just, as far as completely removing the human element, I don't know if it can ever really do that, because sometimes maybe AI could have told me all those, but I just, honestly, it was my first time traveling, and I just wanted to know. I just wanted
Yeah.
to hear you tell me how it's going to be, how it's going to work, how you did it. So it was great that he had traveled and he just told me how it worked when he did it, and that's just something that I wouldn't get
Yeah.
the the AI. And so it's just and it's a great discussion to have as a society, as a world, because I know there's so many people out there saying AI is going to replace us completely. And at least now it's just, to me, I don't know, there's just something about that human element that you can't replace, but it can certainly help. If so this was a unique circumstance where I was doing something new, I was going on an international trip and I was a little
Yeah. Big
nervous.
deal.
And I
Definitely
wanted
a
to,
big deal.
but if I just had a question on what interest do I get charged if I don't pay my balance? AI could knock that out of the park, because
Yeah.
what, all those things easy,
Yeah.
but never underestimate the importance of that human interaction, whether it's
Yep.
in an email or a response on LinkedIn or in a phone call.
Indeed.
We
And
got
so what about back to your business? What would you say are some of the most time-consuming processes in your business that you wish could be automated?
it. See, so far, I'm a very small, simple business. All my
Okay.
manual process I know can be automated, just from my understanding of AI and the education that I've been going through to be able to do this. So I know they all can. Some things that I'm hoping to implement is things along the lines of, can it help me do the first draft for my follow-ups?
Okay.
Now, I don't know if I necessarily wanted to do it, because I do like to have that touch, especially on a follow-up, if I can explain where we met or something that we did. But if it can kind of have that initial one and remind me, even as a reminder, like, "Hey, it's been like a week. If you want to send a follow-up to this," or that would be amazing for me, because I'm just not always the best at, all the different things that happen during the week, who I need to follow up with, or who, like, even having that process, automate that, or at least even it reminds me and draft something that I can go in and do it. Oh, that'd be amazing. I know it can do it. I just gotta figure out how to implement it and have it to my liking. So I would say, I guess, to me, I know all my processes can be automated. So there's probably I'm just a very simple business. It's just me. So for me, I would say it's just me gaining more knowledge about the add-ins, about the add-ons, and implementing it and tweaking it, training it to my liking so it knows me, is more where I'm at with AI.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a huge there's a huge growth curve that most of us are on with this, and just how quickly can we implement? Yeah, for
Exactly.
sure. Yeah, and what would you say what are your goals for the next 12 months? Say in either, company, I don't know, revenue, client number of clients attained, projects done, like things automated, like, what's on your kind of biggest to-do list? What's upcoming for Eric?
Man, I love it. I could talk about my business all day, so just stop me if I rattle on too long. So for me, like 12 months, if 12 months from now, I have implemented the AI that I've talked about where it's really helping me with my marketing, my business development. And then if I could see some success to me in the next 12 months, if I can get 3 clients, I'd be thrilled with my business, like just through my own pipeline. It would be amazing. Like no middleman. I did the work. I gained the trust. I got the client through my marketing. I did the work. I got a success, like maybe a client testimonial. They proved me doing a post, and then they responded to the post. Yeah, Eric was great. This was an amazing experience. If I'm there in 12 months, I'd be very, very, very happy.
Nice, nice. What would you say is the biggest challenge that's holding you back from getting there?
Probably building the trust. It's I watched a certain baseball movie back in the day, Field of Dreams, and if you build
Yeah,
it,
yeah. Love that movie.
and I thought if I build it, they will come. I know I have the experience, I have the technical ability, I have the background, but it's not that simple. At least not if you're not building a baseball stadium. When you're
Right.
talking about accounting and finance, so for me, it's building the trust in the market that I can do what I'm saying I can do. I can do it well. I can do good quality, and I can help with this work, and that I'm worth the cost of hiring me. So that's probably the biggest hurdle. And I've just learned. I've talked to other business leaders, other small businesses like myself, and it's helped me just to know that for everyone, it takes time. I've had people didn't get their first client 8 months until they turned on the marketing, and I turned on the marketing in July, and so it's been about 3 months for me, and so it's just nice to know that it's not just me, it's everyone, and I guess you just got to stay with it. It's that grit of just not quitting too soon, like stick with it. I'm giving it years, I'm gonna give it
Yeah.
years before I walk away. I want to make sure I gave it my all, and for me, that's years. So that's probably the biggest challenge for me is just earning that respect and trust in the industry.
Fantastic. Sounds like you've got some great goals there.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, 100%. You touched earlier on, that relationship between humans and the AI. And so going back to that, how do you foresee that relationship evolving between the humans and AI, especially in terms of collaborating in the job roles, right? Where
Yeah.
there's like an AI actually doing some of the work or sitting alongside, and they're either giving suggestions or they're doing the work, and then the human is tweaking it and telling it to do the iterations. Like what's your vision at how that human AI interface is going to be?
Yeah, I really think it's going to be a symbiotic relationship because I view it as AI can be an assistant to all employees. And what I mean by that is, a lawyer can have an assistant. That assistant can't do that lawyer's job, but it can help. Like you can give a paralegal like a research assignment, and they can go and find where in the law books this is, but then it's up to the lawyer to interpret that and apply it to that case. And I
Yeah.
feel very similar with AI, where AI, like even agentic AI, it can do all these steps, but it's called AI, it's called human in the loop, is what I think the trend is.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
I really think that to me, I think that's the future. It's scary predicting. I could be totally wrong. AI replaces us all.
Yeah.
But
Let's
in
hear it.
my opinion, I think that human in the loop is where the future might be, where we have agentic AI, we have all these different AIs, but it's always human in the loop, where
Yeah.
you do all these steps and the last result is this email to the client.
Yeah.
And it could take all the steps maybe that you have to do in a business before it gets to that, whether it's someone sends you a form, it takes the form, it does this process, it does this, and then it ends up in here's the email to the client, and it can draft that, but it has to be a human in the loop. You wouldn't want it to send that email without anyone looking at it. There's
Of
got to
course.
be that human in the loop, in my opinion. Otherwise,
100%.
people can just tell if it's AI. I don't know. You could just tell. I could just
Yeah.
tell now when the
Yeah.
staff giving me something that AI wrote. I'm like, I mean, you could tell. And so to me, it's that human in the loop. We can go through so many examples of just, it can take all these off your plate, but it's still got to have that human aspect in it to review it, to make sure it's good, to use the judgment. So that's the way I view it, as AI is now an assistant. Instead of only the C-suite having assistants to help them with scheduling, to help them with
Right.
plates, to help them with this and that and that, everyone gets it. Everyone
Yeah.
gets an assistant, and it can help you with all the things that an assistant can help you with. But you still need to be knowledgeable in your job with the judgment to make sure that it's right at the end of the day. How I view it, very symbiotic. I feel like we'll work together as opposed to replacing or a more adversarial relationship, in my opinion. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
also maybe I'm
No,
also
no, no. I appreciate it. I think that's not to downplay it, but I think that's a common thought opinion as well. So, and I think it's very well founded, and it's one that I agree to as well.
thanks.
Yeah. So that being said, as we're winding up here, what sort of advice might you give to someone that's out there that's considering using AI in their business, but they're a bit hesitant and they know that it's something that they've been using a little bit along the way, right? But that like now that there's like AI products and services that are kind of much more on the forefront and can do more than the AI in the past. Because like AI is everything, right? It's like whatever. It's like the assembly line, right? It's the robots on the assembly line. It's
Right.
like AI has been working for us for a long time, like in our watches, in our whatever, right? But like at the level that it's in now, what would you say to those companies, those business owners, those startups that are hesitant about using AI in the next phase of their business growth?
I love that question. Thank you for asking that. That's some advice I would give is, first, if you used AI even 2 years ago, jumped on ChatGPT and you tried it and it was awful. It didn't give you the right answers. It was horrible. And you kind of put it aside. I would say don't let that discourage you. It's evolving every day. It's so much better. I will say the free Chat GPT, because it's pulling from everywhere. And as we all know, you can't always trust what's on the internet. So,
Hmm.
but Chat GPT, the free version, is pulling from all that. And so it can give you garbage sometimes. But the paid version is a little better, where you can have filters, you can tell it where to go from. The ones that you can train yourself are better, where you give it what it's going to pull from and it only pulls from that. You'll get a much better results. So to keep this shorter, I don't want to go too much in the weeds, but I would say if you've used it long ago and it was horrible and you shut it off, I'd say give it another chance. Another piece of advice is, I'm fairly confident it's the future, only because I've been in the business world for a while. And when I see this much investment from all over the
Oh yeah,
world,
lots of
something
money.
just tells me that it's the future. It's the future. So please don't think that, you know, I know change is scary and we all like our routines and this is how I've been doing it. But it's one of those things where AI is not going to replace you, but someone who knows how to use AI might replace you.
Yeah, there
It's
you
one
go.
of
Well said.
so if you're an owner, if you're an employee, I would try to embrace it. I'll give you guys just a little side note of how I use AI in my personal life that maybe some people may not have thought of. But now that I'm starting to travel international, I have a chat with ChatGPT that's called beer. And so I have my tastes in beer, and I'll be honest, I don't really know all the hops and the differences between what a stout and an ale and a lager is. And so what I did with ChatGPT is, there's this site where people put their beer that they've made and it has all the ingredients, how much hops, how long it takes, and it knows all that detail that I have no idea about. I don't want to know about it. I just want to know if I'm going to like this beer. But AI can search that. It knows all those facts. So I created this prompt to have it pull from exactly that place, and then I told it what beers I like. And then I can now take a picture at a bar in Ireland, and I have no idea. I'll know what Guinness is, but I have no idea what these other beers are. I could paste that into that chat. Hey, hey, what beer do you think of? And it'll recommend me like two beers. I think you'll like the Pilsner or that ale, that brown ale.
That's
And then
awesome.
I'll try it. And so that's just something that AI can do on your personal life. So I would say just give it a shot, give it a
Yeah.
try, and start playing around with it, start seeing what it can do. It can help you plan vacations for yourself,
Yep.
all these things. And you'll just start learning what Mark and I are talking about, how you're going to need to be involved. It's not going to ever take it away from you, but it can help you with some of the monotony of planning a vacation and this and that. And do I have enough time? It can take some of that off your plate. So instead of 20 hours to plan your vacation, maybe it's 5. Recommend to just start playing around with it. Some other things that I would say, some maybe pitfalls that I know people are having are with I know there's some security concerns. And from my understanding of using OpenAI, now the free versions, it always uses your data to train the AI, always. Just assume that's true if you're not paying anything. But with these paid versions now, a lot of them either have a toggle where you can have your data not go to train the AI, or it's just turns it off once you run the paid version. And then even more security is like with OpenAI, actually renting the code and having that on your system as your own AI that you can train also does not share data. So that is your own AI. That would be a whole lot of lawsuits if that's not, because it says that explicitly. I looked in the fine print and it does say that explicitly. So if you're worried about security concerns, things like that, it's improving. It's improved greatly for over the last 2 years. So if you kind of if you looked at it a few years ago, even a year ago, it's greatly improved now with the security of it. And so other pitfalls or things I would say is, I know people are change is difficult, and so I would just try to embrace it to see how it might help you save more time. Save more time so you have more time to do things that that human brain needs to be done. Like one thing I'll say is that I could be wrong. Maybe someone will prove me wrong, but I don't think AI can create anything new. I don't think it's going to create a new work of art like a Picasso or, I feel like you need a human. So what AI can do is it can take all those great works of art and it can pick things from all these different things and it can create something new, but it's based on all that's come before, all things that have already been created by by us. And I don't know if it's ever going to be capable of just creating something new, brand new.
Yeah.
And so that is still our realm and may always be. And so it'll allow you to have more time to be doing that, to be creating this new podcast, to be creating this new idea, be creating this new blog, and it'll free you up to do that. So I feel like I'm forgetting an important one, but I hope that was enough.
No,
Like,
that's all great. Absolutely. And that's yeah, it's definitely a good point where the AI is pulling on historical data and it's just putting that together in a very succinct way and then coming out with more. So it's the idea of like, yeah, when is the true generative AI going to come out? And that deadline keeps getting pushed further and further, and some people question if it's ever going to get there. A topic for another day,
right,
100%.
maybe you can put me on again.
Yeah, yeah. And so in the meantime, how can viewers and listeners learn more about you, right? How can they reach out to your consulting business? Where can they find you online, Eric?
Yeah, excellent. I am on LinkedIn. I am on Facebook, Instagram, and X. You could just search for a New Horizon Consulting. And also, I have a website, newhorizonconsulting.com, that goes over my services and gives you a way to contact me if you'd like to. I'm really interested if anyone out there wants to chat more about AI, and don't even feel like you got to reach out even if you don't have a project right now. I'm very interested in just learning more what your viewers may think about this topic or even challenges that you may have in the accounting and finance space. I just enjoy talking about these kind of things. It's interesting to me. I'm a bit of a nerd.
I could tell. That's awesome. Awesome. Well, people know where to go to. I really appreciate your time being here today. This has been fantastic. And we'll be in touch. Thanks again.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay, take care.